channel Fans of Bricks. Welcome from our studio in the heart of Germany next to Frankfurt. I am Joe, I'm part of the product development team. Today I'm going to show you what you can find in our shop, and if there is something you are missing or some building block you always wanted to have, write it down in the comments below. But we as Bluebricks do not only have our own developments, our own sets we're developing, we also have a few licenses. One of the newest one is the Peanuts. The Peanuts, at the moment, concentrated on Snoopy, but as we speak, we're working on other sets which feature a different variety of characters. We have little dioramas with minifigures, with building blocks, which feature Snoopy, or Snoopy and Woodstock in some cases. But we also got a big figure, not sure which it is. Feel free to write it down, correct me in the comments. One of the bigger licenses that we have is, actually, you can find it on Bluebricks Pro, which is our Star Trek sets. I've actually always been a fan of Star Trek since I watched the first TNG episode back in, what was it, the 90s, I think? God, makes me feel old. And I always wanted and tried to build the ships, and mostly the ships actually, out of building blocks. And it is a pleasure for me that we were able to develop those sets and bring them to you. So if you want something, you can scroll down and you'll find most of the hero ships and a lot of ships that are, let's say, not that common or important in the grand scheme of things, but still interesting, and we wanted to have them. For instance, this Cardassian Gaylor class. It's a small size model, mini model, which you can find here in appropriate small print, although that doesn't really help matters. It's 144 pieces for €10.95. But you can also go up to all the way down up to the display sets, for instance, the Enterprise E, which is a very nice model, which I actually have, with more than 70 prints, and it's rather impressive size of 60 centimeters in length and 20 centimeters in width. But we also showed you a lot of the previews of the Stargate sets, and I want to show you where you can find them. You go by Bluebricks Pro because, well, they are with a printed box and printed instructions and printed pieces, and you go down there and you find the Stargate sets. All of them which are currently available, they have a listed price, and the ones that have been announced. Regarding announcements, we announce sets as soon as they have passed the prototype stage or as they have entered the prototype stage, which means our designer gives us a digital image, a digital file, and as soon as we review that and we commission a prototype to see if it really works in physical model, we order a prototype and we announce the set. Which means do not be afraid or don't be confused if it takes half a year, sometimes a bit more for the more complicated sets, to go from announcement until you can finally buy it. It's just takes some time, and let's be honest, we'd rather spend a little more time perfecting the set than give you something that is half-baked and not as good as it could be. Because I'm actually really proud of working here, because we are doing whatever we can to make the sets as good as they can possibly be, and as you can see in this image alone, this is printed, the entire Stargate is printed, the chevrons are printed, here you got the Keep Clear. We do not skimp on details, and if a set looks better with printed parts, we will print them. A print is always better. If you can't brick build it, make it a print. But there is another license that I want to show you. As I am a child of the 80s and raised more or less in the 90s, there is another movie that I would like to show you. RoboCop. Part man, part machine, all cop. Here you can find our RoboCop sets, all fully licensed. You have everything from the small variety, a brick body, all the way up to the display set of RoboCop, which is in a quarter of its size, a model of the eponymous character. And no, you're not mistaken, this is not grey, this is not a flat silver, this is actually metallic silver. Which means that it is, there you can see it, Officer Alex J. Murphy, part man, part machine, all cop. That movie was so hilarious. What are your favorite moments from that movie, by the way? Write it down below in the comments. Because we have a big fan of us in our development team, and he's always interested to know what actually people want and think of his favorite movie. Another one of the topics that we were famous for, or well known for in the German brick building community, was actually a little bit surprising because we had this lighthouse. And this lighthouse is a modular building with nearly 7,000 pieces, which depicts a lonely lighthouse on a rocky island somewhere in the choppy seas. It's chock full of details, and there are so many of them, you cannot even, if you haven't built them, you do not know. You can see here from this view, but it's a rocky island which used to house some sort of church structure, and then the lighthouse was built on top. And it was recently decided that we should expand that into a series called The Voyage of the Astronomer. You might have heard it before in a preview, and the next step of his astronomer's voyage and the land cap that he inhabits is the planetarium, an even bigger model with more than 7,250 pieces. I saw it in the product development office, which is actually one of the perks of the job. I get to see stuff way before you do. If you want to work for us, come write an application. Let's be honest, it's more than 7,500. It's nearly more than 7,200 pieces for 250 euro, or a bit less than 250 euro, which is a steal in any world, in any kind, especially for a design this complex and breathtaking simply. But one topic that is closest to my heart, and which is coincidentally the one that I am team lead for, is medieval scenery, which is, and I really need to talk about the people about this, hidden behind the entry, the tab of knights. I really need to get them to change that. So maybe when you can see this has already been renamed to medieval, but I am not sure. There you can see all kinds of historically, as accurate as we can do them, buildings. For instance, you have a Belscaster and the glassworks. But for most of the time, the things that we are really famous for is the Blaustein Castle. I'm not sure whether you already heard about it or saw a small video of it or a teaser. But Blaustein Castle is basically the voyage of a Central German or Central European castle through the ages, beginning from a small building here, which then gets added a keep, and which expands through the time with an outer bailey, which increases its size, then a hall. And at this point, it has already more than 16,000 pieces, and the voyage doesn't stop there. And then gets the Wehrwalk extension, where the building is being raised a bit. And it gets these wooden eponymous Wehrwalks and extensions all the way. And currently, we are waiting for the 5th expansion, which is the Mint Tower. You can also find them if you type in the search key and type in what you want, and then you can find it. And this is what I have the honor of currently working on, or which I have the honor of working on. It's done, it's ready, and it should be available end of the year, in fall, in autumn. I definitely hope that it's autumn. And as you can see, it's going to be a huge structure, hugely modular, and it has a detailed interior which, once again, can't really be described. You've got to see it. And if you want to see an impression of it, feel free to look through our YouTube channel and look for the videos. Well, and that concludes actually a short overview of what you can find in our shop. You can find a lot of things more, from the interesting to the gadgety. For instance, there's I'm a big fan of the Relax Cube that we have, which is basically one of these fidget toys made from building blocks. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want, share a comment. Generally, you can see you can never have enough building bricks, and you can be sure that there will be more. I wish you a lot of fun browsing and of course building. And I'll see you next time. Bye!